Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Kathy Potter, Librarian 1 with the Connecticut State Library Division of Library Development, and I am excited to welcome you to Every Child Ready to Read Deep Dive Singing. I want to acknowledge with thanks that this presentation is funded by the State of Connecticut and the Institute of Museum and Library Services under the provisions of the Library Services and Technology Act administered by the Connecticut State Library. A few housekeeping things before I begin in just a moment. I would appreciate it if you changed your name to at least your first name and last name for attendance. And today's session is being recorded and captions will be auto-generated. And let me just make sure that I do have those on. Thanks for your patience. Okay, the recording slides and resources will be available to access on the YouTube playlist for the DLD Children's and YA. Suzanne Kiss is joining me today, and we'll drop links to this and other items in the chat as we move through today's session. I will also send out the link via email to everyone here once it is available. And Suzanne is here to help monitor the chat. Please feel free to add questions along with your insights, comments, and conversation. And just like in Storytime, your engagement helps keep me energized. And the more we share with each other, the more we learn from each other. And we will take a 5-minute break or so about halfway through, and I will leave time for us to chat at the end. Also at the end of the presentation, I'll share the link to a brief survey, and you'll also receive an email with the brief survey. So please take a moment and fill it out once to share your feedback. So help me help you. Is there anything I missed, or do we have any questions before I begin? Okay. Welcome to a deep dive into the 5 practices of Every Child Ready to Read 2. Today's exploration is of singing. What do we know about singing? Let's take a look at the science behind singing, learn about current initiatives, and brainstorm ways to incorporate or expand upon activities for more songs, music, and connections through library spaces, programming, and outreach. At the end of this session, attendees will be able to identify the different facets of singing, its importance in early literacy and lifelong learning, and ways for librarians to evaluate and incorporate singing, music, and movement into their professional life. Throughout today's presentation, I will use music and singing interchangeably. I will also talk about finger plays and movement in addition to singing. A little background into Every Child Ready to Read. It was first introduced in 2004 as a parent education tool to empower caregivers in helping the children in their care to develop literacy skills. Every Child Ready to Read was developed to break the fourth wall and acknowledge that caregivers were also in the storytime room and would benefit from learning how to support literacy acquisition for the children in their care through direct messages during programs. Librarians were encouraged to participate in training on how to incorporate activities for children and messages to adults to support a child's development of the 6 skills into their story times and how to present workshops to caregivers about the skills. The 6 skills were print awareness, letter knowledge, phonological awareness, vocabulary, narrative skills, and print motivation. For me, these were honestly a bit of a mouthful, and it was awkward for librarians and caregivers to embrace and integrate them into their practice. So after a review of the program and input from librarians, in 2011, the 6 skills were transformed into 5 practices: talking, singing, reading, writing, and playing. Every Child Ready to Read 2 recognizes that through singing, children's sensitivity and awareness of the sounds and words is increased. Singing allows spoken language to be slowed down so that the individual parts of words can be noticed. In addition, the syllables of words are represented by individual notes and are sometimes stressed through clapping. These enhance the ability to hear individual sounds in words and provide the opportunity to explore whether they are the same or different. Singing and rhyming also fosters the development of letter knowledge, phonological awareness, and vocabulary. Through lyrics, children learn new words and gain information. The skills acquired through singing prepares children to decode print, also known as written language. If you want to learn more, Kim has information about Every Child Ready to Read on the DLD Children's and YA LibGuide. From this point on, the research I refer to for this deep dive was published after 2014. This is a very simplified explanation of the way we hear sound, but sound waves travel from the outer ear to the inner ear, or to the middle ear, and then to the inner ear, where they are sorted by frequency. In the past, it was understood that the left hemisphere decodes words and the right hemisphere processes music. It is now believed that both sides of the brain work together as codependent systems. In the auditory cortex, which is part of the temporal lobe, sound is processed first by features such as loudness and pitch, the source, whether it includes speech, and the name of the thing or person that is producing the sound are all identified. Music and songs activate the prefrontal cortex, which plays a role in executive functioning. Executive functions are mental processes that we use every day to solve problems, make plans, and manage emotions. As we sing, we are constantly evaluating whether the sound we are producing is the one that we expected. If it's not what we imagined, rapid changes are made by the muscles that control the physical properties of the vocal folds located in the larynx to adjust the tension, length, and more. The vocal folds, lungs, and vocal tract, which consist of the larynx, pharynx, oral and nasal cavities, work in tandem to produce sound. The input and output of sound is the vocal sensory motor loop. Clapping also activates the corpus callosum that connects the left and right sides and is practiced for the coordination required for other two-handed activities like catching, throwing, and working with tools. We all have thoughts on who is a good singer and who isn't, and where we ourselves might fall on that spectrum. Musical aptitude and ability are related to the strengths we are born with, but can be improved or honed. As we reflect on our own skills, it is important to recognize that each person possesses more than one type of intelligence, which are represented in different strengths. Developmental psychologist Howard Gardner's book, Multiple Intelligences, lists them as musical, bodily kinesthetic, interpersonal, verbal linguistic, logical mathematical, naturalistic, intrapersonal, and visual spatial. In formal music education approaches, the various music learning theories both embrace and incorporate play to develop a child's natural musicality. Children learn music first without learning notation and may learn songs through call and response or rote teaching. Play in music can be found in chanting, singing, talk singing, moving, or dancing, instrumentation, and drama. Rich social play occurs in settings where there is free musical play. This type of play encourages children to share their ideas on how to incorporate drama, play instruments, and make music, imitate the rhythmic and melodic improvisations of peers, encourage their peers to participate in vocal and instrumental conversations, and resolve conflicts successfully in a quest to play cooperatively. As we age, we experience an evolution of our singing selves. As children, we are more likely to engage with music naturally by making up songs and singing while engaged with other activities. But by the age of 8 years old, we are no longer making up songs. In adolescence, male voices experience a lowering of the vocal register, which may cause anxiety, frustration, and sadness over the lack of control during the changes and the loss of the child voice. Popular music with its singability becomes an important part of identity formation. As adults, new parents may engage with music through lullabies to connect with their children and continue to play music together as children grow to further bring families together. Later in adulthood and through attendance at concerts and participation in choral groups, adults experience the icebreaker effect, bonding with strangers through group singing. The icebreaker effect creates the feeling of a rapidly built bond even with strangers when participating in a shared activity. A great research article to learn more about this is The Icebreaker Effect: Singing Mediates Fast Social Bonding. There are many similarities between music and language. Essentially, music and language are both forms of communication. Each have systems that facilitate the ability to interpret and produce thoughts, images, and feelings. Songs help children to express their emotions and communicate. Children hear and understand new words and concepts through lyrics. The sounds of language and phonological awareness are also developed through focusing on lyrics. Phonemes, syntax, and semantics are all part of the grammatical structure of both lyrics and spoken or read language. Phonemes are the smallest sounds of language. Syntax are the rules that govern the combination of those phonemes, turning them into a sequence of sounds. And semantics are the meanings assigned or carried by the sounds of the sequences. Before we move on, let's take a minute to review some musical terms. So the pulse or beat is like a heartbeat, a steady beat underlying the music. The rhythm is the pattern of sound. Pitch is the high sounds and low sounds. Structure is how the piece of music or song is built up, such as a verse, chorus, chorus. Dynamics are the changes between loud, quiet, getting louder, getting quieter. Timbre is the character of sound. Is it smooth, spiky, scratchy? Texture is the layers in the music, one sound or several sounds. Tempo is the speed, how fast or how slow it is. Melodic shape is like the outline of the song or piece of music. Genre is the type of music, pop, jazz, folk, classical. Music and language both follow a linear structure until a phrase or sentence is completed. Music with lyrics and conversational language share elements of musicality: timbre, pitch, dynamics, beat, rhythm of notes or silences over, rhythm, tempo, and meter of a certain, or meter. They each encourage the development of skills such as an awareness of words, inflection, timing, concentration, listening, and inflection. But music with lyrics often evoke an emotional response and is therefore not just about encoding and decoding messages, but about the, quote, feelingful qualities of sound. Lyrics have the capacity to be more than just words and become layered and nuanced. However, language is precisely the process of encoding and decoding information and expressing and receiving messages. For example, a newborn cries and coos as a way to directly communicate their needs: hunger, anger, discomfort, loneliness, and happiness, and not for the experience of merely making sound. They are trying to transmit a message directly without any interference. We know that literacy begins at birth and that children's social interactions help them to hear language, participate in conversations, and explore the world around them. Surrounded by oral language in their daily lives, children learn important expressive and receptive language skills, all while forming bonds with their grown-ups. With the intentional support and scaffolding provided by their grown-ups, their music and language learning can be further enhanced by engaging with them in developmentally appropriate ways. Babbling sounds produced by infants as they repeat syllables is called reduplicative babbling and helps strengthen speech and singing. Although the baby and grown-up are not usually in perfect synchrony during vocal interactions, it still bolsters communication skills in the back and forth of imitating each other's sounds. Singing to newborns and encouraging their babbling, engaging in musical activities with younger toddlers, including playing instruments and moving, and encouraging older toddlers to sing, are all ways to support their musical lives and, in turn, their language acquisition. Some researchers believe that the brain of an infant initially processes language as a special type of music and love to hear it, especially the voices of their grown-ups, regardless of whether the singing is in tune or not. Music is not separated from children's culture. It interplays and intersects with their lived understandings of language. The various contexts in which children experience music provide understandings of their socio-cultural linguistic worlds. Songs and books increase a child's vocabulary by providing authentic opportunities to make sense of the world, both within and outside their lived experience and their imagination. Songs can provide a way to support creative thinking and is a valuable skill for writing narratives or informational texts. Music that includes finger plays and rhymes encourages embodied movement and a focus on the words and their meanings. Using rhythm instruments and incorporating clapping helps to build segmentation skills, or how to know when the words begin and end. The ability to discriminate between and segment words or recognize word families and when rhyming words helps in writing and reading. Oral language skills, enhanced through singing, provide a foundation for later reading and reading comprehension. The pitch and rhythm skills also support oral language development by building auditory discrimination. With greater auditory discrimination skills, a child can better separate speech sounds from background noise. This is an important skill for processing oral language and phonemic awareness. Rhythm and pitch discrimination can improve a child's ability to process speech sounds. Music is a fun and natural way to build confidence and knowledge about oral language. Without the ability to recognize patterns, discriminate sounds, and identify speech features, children cannot manipulate and segment words, syllables, or phonemes. Researchers have found that children with exposure to music instruction and rhythmic skills have stronger phoneme segmentation and reading achievement. Songs with lyrics introduce concepts of time and force by bringing attention to movement that is fast, slow, smooth, and choppy. Music helps build self-regulation skills, which helps with reading. Children learn best through concrete and active experiences, and music and singing helps to encourage expression, confidence, creativity, and social connection. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you sing during your programs? Can you give me a thumbs up if you use commercially recorded music during your programs? Can you give me a thumbs up if you dance during your programs? Did you know that there are greater benefits for emergent literacy in children when the grown-ups in the room actively participate through singing, dancing, and playing instruments with them? It's true. And if you rely on commercially recorded music, try singing without the recording. This helps to further build oral language and oral discrimination through narration and demonstration of movements, which reinforce concepts of spatial awareness. And listening skills can also be built through songs with call and response. Much of the research about the benefits of singing refers to school groups or choral groups of various ages. Generally, there is a positive impact in a child's well-being, feeling of social connectedness, and a sense of cognitive stimulation and concentration in the activity. One researcher discovered that there were 6 elements that needed to be present for the children to positively perceive their musical experience. I'm going to connect these 6 elements in the context of how I facilitated a music and movement program at a former library. Organizing structures include the use of the space, seating, resources, and time of day. For the music and movement program, I held it in the evenings from 6:30 to 7:15 p.m. on Mondays before the week got too busy for families. There were no chairs set up in the room, but they were available if needed, and families were invited to find a spot around the perimeter of the room. I had instruments and parachute, scarves, and my playlist ready to go. Focus and energy is the ability to adapt the focus and energy of the group. I planned my playlist to start slow with a hello song and simple songs to warm up the group and give them a chance to relax and feel comfortable. I then built up the energy by midway through and brought it back down to end slowly. My playlist always had way more music than I needed so that I could read the room and adjust accordingly. Materials and ideas includes offering a variety of genres and encouraging engagement. I included lots of genres in both kids' music and versions of songs that were for all listeners, including multilingual songs. I also asked for requests and could either play them immediately or promise to include it next time. Unless it was something I already had in my playlist, I wanted to have an opportunity to preview it before including it in a group setting. Intention of the leader is the musical or artistic, personal, and or social cultural outcomes. I started the program as a part of the summer lineup just to have fun with a low prep and inclusive program after having trouble with getting an evening family story time going during the school months. I maintained a high energy level, smiled and laughed at myself and with families with the goal of always having fun. Reflection and reflexivity is the ability of the leader to reflect and react to what happens before, during, and after each session. I made sure to walk around the children's department and invite everyone to join in before we got the program started. I waved in latecomers and afterwards walked around chatting with families to gauge their experience and ask for feedback. What the children bring is the needs of the group, their likes and interests, and how they felt about me and their grown-ups. I asked about favorite songs or things they were excited about to guide my selections for future sessions. And if anyone was celebrating a birthday, we all sang to them. I worked to encourage engagement between the child and their grown-up and other children over direct interactions with just myself. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi defined flow as a state of concentration or complete absorption with the activity at hand and the situation. It is a state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The state of flow can be reached, but only with a balance between the level of the challenge of a task and the skills of the person participating, and it's optimal if there's a balance of both high challenge and high skills. Repetition of songs can help to build skills, while making slight changes or adding movements can help to make the activity more challenging. Reaching a state of flow increases well-being, creativity, and motivation. Offering music and movement, or including songs of cultural and ethnic minority groups in your programming, helps to build community and bring a reduction in systemic discrimination. Teaching songs and music within a cultural context by introducing a song and providing background information can be an effective intervention in reducing implicit racial preferences or bias. Inviting families to share songs and music and then including them in programming bridges the gap between home and library. Including world instruments or sharing videos of musicians and vocal artists from around the world, or inviting performers to the library widens the music library of everyone. Putumayo is a great resource for world music, and I also discovered the Sing Up Foundation created by the British Council. They have a small collection of publicly available recordings and materials that have been collected over the course of 7 years by World Voice. They are working on finding a more permanent home for the vast amount of materials they did collect, and they offer a mailing list to help keep up to date with their project. If anyone has any other resources, if you wouldn't mind popping it into the chat, I'd appreciate it. Love to hear what other people have found. So bear with me for a minute. I want to explore something that needs to be mentioned. If you're a fan of Ed Sheeran or Sami Shokri, aka Sammy Switch, you may know that parts of Sheeran's Shape of You shared the same melody as Shokri's Oh My Oh Why. And they're not the only musicians that have faced the same issue. You may remember the battle between Vanilla Ice over Ice Ice Baby and Queen and David Bowie's Under Pressure. If you hummed one, did others know which song it was? The same goes for reusing melodies for songs with racist lyrics. Martine Urbach penned a great article titled, "You Might Be Left with Silence When You're Done, the White Fear of Taking Racist Songs Out of Music Education" in 2019. It was about racism in children's music and the fear that without traditional songs, there wouldn't be anything to be taught in the music room. In his article, he shared a list of 12 childhood nursery rhymes that you didn't know were racist. Listed here and published by the Atlanta Black Star, the largest Black-owned digital publication in the United States. I encourage you to read these articles and research the history of the songs that you are singing in your programs. It is our responsibility to ensure that all families feel welcome in our spaces and recognize that the lyrics we are singing are not necessarily the lyrics that someone is hearing in their own head if the melody is the same. All right, so now I have a break scheduled for us. So we will take a 5-minute break and come back at we'll round it up and we'll say at 2:40. So I'm going to pause the recording and stop my screen sharing. And we will come back at 2:40. All right, and we're back. The British Association for Early Childhood Education, Early Education, produced the Musical Development Matters in the Early Years by Nicola Burke. This guide is centered around 4 aspects of musical learning and development: hearing and listening, vocalizing and singing, moving and dancing, and exploring and playing. Burke frames each aspect in 3 main areas: observing what the child is learning, what the adults can do to foster growth, and what the adults can provide in a child's environment. And each aspect is broken down by age: birth to 11 months, 8 to 20 months, 16 to 26 months, 22 to 36 months, 30 to 50 months, and 40 to 60 plus months, with the understanding that each child develops at their own pace and that some of the ages overlap to account for that variance. Some of the guidance is easily incorporated into library programming, and some is better suited for smaller settings or at home. And due to the amount of information that's included in the guide, I'm going to focus on a few points for each age group, but I encourage you to read through the entire document for more comprehensive understanding of what we may observe in the library setting and how we, as librarians, as a model to grown-ups, can support musical development and how our spaces can invite musical exploration. First, let's look at hearing and listening. The fetal auditory system is functional at around 25 weeks of gestational age. Therefore, music development may begin in the womb, from hearing the voice of the person carrying them to term to loud sounds in the external environment. Babies from birth to 11 months can listen attentively when sung to and anticipate phrases and actions of songs and rhymes. From 8 to 20 months, babies can begin to indicate what songs and music they'd like to hear or make gestures related to songs. At 16 to 26 months, babies have further developed their musical preferences, so they may have favorites and are able to tell you what they are. From 22 to 26 months, toddlers can identify some specific sounds around them, such as cars and running water. At 30 to 50 months, older toddlers and preschoolers can identify and match the sounds of instruments with the instruments such as the sound of a shaker and know it is a shaker. From 40 to 60 months and beyond, children can distinguish and describe the changes in music and compare pieces of music. Adults can support the hearing and listening aspects of a child's musical development by fostering positive relationships, beginning at birth grown-ups can encourage turn-taking and conversation by allowing time for babies to listen and respond, and library programs can include singing a variety of songs and moving to music. As children grow, librarians can model positive relationships by asking them to describe the sounds they hear, playing sound matching games, and asking them about their thoughts and feelings about different music they hear. In library spaces, hearing and listening can be supported by having dedicated music programs for babies and children, inviting musicians, including parents, school groups, and local bands to perform, creating a listening center, and sharing a song of the week or month with information about the artist, genre, and instruments. Let's now look at vocalizing and singing. From birth, babies begin vocalizing, moving into sounds that include long syllabic and non-syllabic sounds around the ages of 8 to 20 months. At 16 to 26 months, a toddler may join in by singing some words or phrases of action songs. By 22 to 36 months, older toddlers can begin to sing to their toys or sing phrases during dramatic play. At 30 to 50 months, some preschoolers may begin to sing entire songs, and at 40 to 60 months and beyond, children may enjoy performing both solo or in groups. Adults can support vocalizing and singing by responding to the sounds of children, singing regularly and repeating those songs, including our voices in a range of ways from whisper singing to singing slowly and joyfully, and recognize that at home, a child may hear and use a range of tones as they sing and play vocally. In our libraries, we can support vocalizing and singing by incorporating songs and rhymes from all cultures and ask our families what they hear at home. We can encourage playful singing with resources such as puppets, pictures, and items in a song bag that represent components of songs, such as plastic figurines and other props. Including sign language, a variety of genres, along with favorite songs, games, and cardboard tube microphones are all ways to deepen the connection to songs and encourage confident voices. Consider inviting grown-ups to record their own child singing so they can view it together later. Now let's look at moving and dancing. From birth to 11 months, babies will respond to music by moving their arms and legs and bouncing. From 8 to 20 months, babies will start to indicate what songs they want to hear using gestures and may move toys while making sounds. At 16 to 26 months, toddlers might like dancing to music or begin moving while they're playing an instrument. From 22 to 36 months, older toddlers will begin to move in response to rhythms they hear, both large and small movements. At 30 to 50 months, older toddlers and preschoolers will begin interpreting the sounds of instruments like the xylophone by tiptoeing, and from 40 to 60 months and beyond, preschoolers may combine moving, singing, and playing instruments. Adults can foster the development of moving and dancing by playing a wide range of music genres, singing a range of songs and finger rhymes, and join in the movement they observe in children. Including songs without recorded music will help to meet the needs of the child by being able to vary the speed. Adults can encourage children to take the lead in music and movement games, model movement while playing instruments, and invite children to share dance moves. In our libraries, we can include movement and dancing in our programs, either as a dedicated program or as a component in other programs. We can offer choices in music selection and instruments. We can include the use of pom-poms, scarves, and ribbons, and model ways to use them in our movements. We can place instruments at different levels and spaces, formations, and variations. We can demonstrate different methods of playing, such as tapping a drum with our fingers, hands, or mallet, and offer instruments played with two hands, such as rhythm sticks. We can also make them available for play outside of formal programming. Now let's look at exploring and playing. From birth to 11 months, a baby can shake an instrument with one hand or in both hands simultaneously. At 8 to 20 months, a toddler may play at taking turns with an instrument. From 16 to 26 months, an older toddler may play with a mallet in each hand, using them both simultaneously and alternately. At 22 to 36 months, preschoolers may start to experiment with the speed and volume of playing an instrument and is able to show control in both holding and playing. By 30 to 50 months, an older preschooler becomes able to operate equipment such as music players. At 40 to 60 months and beyond, a child will begin playing imaginary instruments like an air guitar and can tap the rhythms to accompany the syllables of words. As adults, we can mimic the sounds babies make and take turns while maintaining eye contact. We can model the ways of playing instruments and incorporate games such as start, stop, and allow them to lead. When children want to perform for adults, we can respectfully listen without judgment and ask them to tell us about their music making. We can explore ways to extend a child's musical ideas to sustain musical play. We can invite children to play music according to a theme like the ocean or draw while they're listening to music. In our libraries, we can create sound baskets that include a variety of materials that make different sounds, including things that can be scrunched, tapped, and shaken. We can offer pairs of mallets, felt, wood, or rubber, for simultaneous play and sound experimentation in a range of sizes of instruments, from small to large or a variety of shapes. We can explore enclosures for music making, perhaps a pop-up tent or under a table covered with a blanket. We can match the instrument to the activity we are engaging in, such as using claves, drums, or rhythm sticks, or for rhythm games. To build the supports we just explored for older toddlers, preschoolers, and older, we can also ask them about what they hear when new songs are introduced and encourage them to share their thoughts. As a programmer, I could imagine using the time between activities to engage in conversation in this way. And once we've heard the song a few times, questions about what types of instruments we could play and how we might dance or move would provide an opportunity for children to benefit from positive relationships as they shared their ideas and then they were incorporated into the activity. Asking questions, both closed-ended and open-ended, helps children to think more critically about what they're hearing and how to respond. Inventing the words is like oral storytelling, where each person adds in. Remember those words over time is like keeping a shared secret. At the same time, the song can always stay open to new words, verses, and musical play. Carnegie Hall's Wheel Music Institute invited parents of young children to participate in their lullaby project. Parents worked with performers, composers, and arrangers to refine their lullaby after they'd reflected on their own musical memories and tapped into letters and journal entries. Knowing that music engages the whole child, including brain and body, can help build close relationships, the researchers sought to provide a vehicle for communicating and imagining. As children are able to express themselves, they can use music to share and manage their feelings, be with others, belong to a community, and find joy in making music. As preschoolers and elementary age children grow out of listening to kids' music, there is little written for them that reflects the life they are living. However, if you've never heard of the Story Pirates podcast, I invite you to explore it. Using submissions from kids, they turn them into sketch comedy and songs and invite celebrity guests to get in on the fun. Could listening to an episode during story time be a spark for kids to write their own songs and sketches? What other podcasts are you listening to that encourage storytelling and songwriting? If you've got any, please put them in the chat. I'd love to check them out. So we've covered a lot of aspects about music and singing, and one thing I'd like to do before we go is to take some time to brainstorm songs, finger plays, instruments, and more. So put your ideas and suggestions into this Padlet. I'm going to wrap up this presentation so we can feel free to unmute and share amongst ourselves. So thank you so much for joining me today for this deep dive into the Every Child Ready to Read practices of singing. Please join me next time for a deep dive into talking. Today's recording will be available on the Connecticut State Library's Division of Library Development page, the Children's and YA Services Professional Development Early Literacy tab. I will send out the link to everyone who registered along with the list of resources I mentioned and more. Thank you. I'm going to end the recording.